and gentlemen, this is Adriana of the Adriana Show, and today we have a very special guest with us tonight, Rukmani. Give it a hand.
Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
How are you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very good as well.
Today we will discuss and get a taste of Rukmani's life as an Indian woman. So Rukmani, the first and most important topic I would like to talk about tonight is family life. Just to let our viewers know, in India, extended family is very common. Families live in mud huts, and the women are encouraged to do the cleaning, take care of the children, prepare the food, and maintain religious traditions. So Rukmani, tell us a little bit about your family.
My family is the most important thing to me. I gave birth to 1 daughter and to 5 sons. Nathan supported me all along the way, and I felt loved, and I felt like the marriage didn't even feel arranged. My daily life consists of putting meal on the table, which is originally rice, and of cleaning and doing other house duties around the house. I planted a vegetable garden to help Nathan in the rice field. But when my 2 sons, Arjun and Tambi, wanted to leave to Laylol, we tried to discourage them. Nathan was upset because he wanted our sons to stay and work at the field. But he didn't ask them to ruin their beliefs and ruin their hopes. We simply did not want them to leave the family unit. I believe that family is important, and we were heartbroken when my sons had to leave for work.
Very interesting. So Rukmani, tell me a little bit about your sons working at the tannery. Why were you so upset?
My sons violated our religious practice. As Hindu, we believe that we shall not eat beef, or shall we handle a cow after it has been slaughtered. When my sons began working, my husband and I were upset that they left the farming life. They were born into this. They also violated the caste system. Each caste is associated with a certain occupation, and they left us.
I see. Let's move on to a more serious topic, the birth of your daughter. When a male is born in India, it is a happy event. The male is praised and considered an asset. Why is it so important to have boys in your family?
Married couples are expected to have kids. Excuse me for my accent. When Ira was born, the fact that it was a girl got me worried, and my husband as well, because girls do not work on the fields. And it took us several years in order for us to have sons. My husband was getting worried after a while when we couldn't have sons, and I was afraid that he was gonna leave me just like Ira's husband would. And finally, I went to a doctor, Dr. Kenny, and before you know it, we got lucky enough and we had plenty of sons. The whole point is that when you have a son, he could work on the field, help support the family. So my husband was much happier when we had much more sons, instead of a daughter that we soon have to give up for marriage.
Okay. Well, speaking of giving up your daughter for marriage, how old were you when you got married, and how was your wedding day?
I actually got married at the age of 12, but I had no idea who I was getting married to, and who my husband was gonna be, and what he looked like, because the wedding was all arranged. I had little to say in this because it was arranged, like I said, and there was much preparation for this. Drinks, foods, music, like any other wedding. And sometimes this preparation would last several days. Ira's wedding was very modest because of our wealth status. The music was provided by only drums. Granny arranged Ira's match. After she got married, she left to live with her husband.
Can you tell us a little bit about your dress wear?
Yes, thank you. Not much water in my village, but as you could see, I am pretty poor. And, well, we just wear functional clothing. We do not have no fancy dresses like most people do. And we might dress up on occasions, just like Ira's wedding. We dressed up for that. But most of us, women, preferably wear, how you call it, sari? This is what I am actually wearing. It is a 5-foot cloth. And sometimes it could go over your head, just like this.
And I see it is wrapped around your body, correct?
Yes, we like to be covered. And the males, they would wear the hali, which is also a 5-foot cloth, only theirs are wrapped around the legs and tucked in the back. The influence of the British in India caused some people to dress in shirts and trousers. Kenny and the white officials wore white-style dresses.
Do you know how to read and write and later pass this on to your sons? Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, as you see, my father and my husband encouraged me in practicing my reading and writing, and I later taught it to my children to educate them. My son, Salvan, knew how to read, and I believe this caught Kenny's eye, and that's why he was hired in the hospital with him. Education was not necessary in the village because the women would stay at home and they'd have to do house chores like cook and clean, and the men, they would be out in the fields. So education wasn't a big factor in the village. Our economy was mainly agricultural. Villagers grew rice and vegetables on rented land. Monsoons and droughts would often disrupt the crops. We would often have nothing to pay the landlord, but he still expected us to pay. We had no money to buy from the village, so growing crops was only the option. Tannery transformed the economy. It drove people away, like my sons. It also raised prices and made it even more difficult for us to buy items.
How did you commute from place to place?
Well, we walked everywhere, and sometimes we would travel by bullock carts, which were carts that were pushed by bulls. In the town, there were cars, bicycles, and carriages. And personal communication was horrible. It was horrible. When Ira left, I haven't spoke to her in years. It's been such a long time. After we were forced off our land, we took the cart to town. We had to walk for miles to find our son's family, which we had no idea who they were and what they looked like.
How does starvation affect you and your family?
Actually, hunger is one of the big problems, and weather also is a big factor, because if the weather is bad, if it doesn't rain, then the crops are bad, and simply there is no food. One must risk each other's lives in order to get food. My son, which was killed for stealing food, and my daughter, which I am not fond of what she did, but she was a prostitute. And people would be murderers, they would steal food, or they'd have sex just to get some food.
Why is rice such an important factor in your family?
Well, that's simple, because rice is life. Without it, we will die. There would come times that I would count how much days we have to survive simply by counting the rice. Without the rice, we would die. And there'd be times me and my husband Nathan, we'd have to go up to the temple to get some in order for us to survive in the city.
Why is your sari so important to you?
Because my sari is the most prized possession. It's the dignity and pride. And I save my sari because you wear them on special occasions, and I'd save them for my son's weddings. And there'd be times that I'd have to pick my sari or my land, and it'd come down to the point that I'd have to offer it for sale.
Well, that's it, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our little interview.
Thank you for having me, everyone.